Hello guys, my name's John, I'm the Geeky Fanboy, and this week I went and saw Colette starring Keira Knightley. So I was quite excited to finally go and see this movie. Ever since I've seen like the first trailers for this movie, I was really thrilled. Because to be honest, I've never heard of Colette, like the author, don't know her. But just from what this trailer showed me, Keira Knightley is always a plus. I like her a lot. And then you have her starring as a writer, which is nice because I'm also a writer. But a writer in the 19th century who defies all gender, sexuality stereotypes and blurs the lines when it comes to those kinds of things. And I thought, yeah, that's my kind of thing. I'm gonna go watch this. So, like I said, Keira Knightley stars as Colette, a very now famous French author who lived in the late 19th, early 20th century. And she married a man a lot older than her. And he was famous for publishing stuff under his brand name. His name was Willie. And she starts writing stories for him about this girl called Claudine, who is partly based on her. And she doesn't get to put her name under those stories, it's Willie's name. And those stories become really famous. At the same time, you can see that the marriage between two is very problematic in a lot of ways. Willie forces her to work when she doesn't want to. She's not always happy. He verbally and emotionally abuses her a lot of times and gaslights her and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a very healthy relationship. And she starts having affairs with women, with people who blur the gender lines, let's say like that. I mean, Willie is also off having affairs and all that, which kind of kicks off Colette's affair thing as well. So you can see there are a lot of different relationships and dynamics going on, and all the while you follow Colette becoming a strong woman. You see her developing, beyond her relationship with her husband, and seeing realizing her potential, what she can do, not just literature wise but also just life wise, what she can do. So I enjoyed this movie quite a lot, I can say. Keira Knightley's performance is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like I said, I always like her. I think she's basically good in almost any role. So yeah, she really makes this role her own. I mean, like I said, I don't know Colette. I've never heard of her. I don't know how accurate a portrayal this is, but from what I read after watching the movie, it seems to be fairly accurate. Also, fact-wise, what happens in the story, sure, a bit condensed and all that, but the beats are mostly correct, and also what Keira Knightley does with Colette as a performance. You can really see Colette's development throughout the movie. She starts off as this sort of naive girl who doesn't really understand yet how the world works and doesn't really understand yet who she is as a person, just falls in love with this much older man who realizes what she can do and starts manipulating her, starts using her and emotionally abusing her as well. And she kind of picks up on it but doesn't really go against it. And I really like how you can see her transformation throughout the movie, how she learns to realize what it is that's happening to her, how she realizes that her treatment within this relationship is not a healthy thing. And especially I like how they portray that she's interested in other people and also women romantically, and that for her, while it is kind of a discovery, it's something she seems to have already known when we encounter it the first time in the movie. But I like how we still get some sort of development even in that department with different relationships she has throughout the movie. The relationship between her and her husband was really quite interesting because it's this really classic case of being in an emotionally and verbally abusive relationship where, you know, the guy tries keeping her in the relationship all the time, even though he knows he's treating her really horribly, and doesn't give her a voice for the work she does. He never really acknowledges her, but then as soon as she gets angry at him, he uses the emotions, the feelings he apparently has for her, and tells her no, but I love you, and I give you this cool house, or I give you this cool thing, so she stays with him. So it was very interesting to see this. From what I gathered, it's a very realistic portrayal of those kinds of unhealthy relationships. And while I do get how important the emphasis on this whole relationship thing was, sometimes it got a bit repetitive, where you would just notice, okay, he does something, she gets angry, maybe he's even about to leave him, he says something nice, maybe he gives her something, she's still kind of angry with him, but stays with him. Those kind of story beats happen multiple times in the movie, and I kind of understand why they are there. Just at some point they got a bit repetitive. I was like, okay, we're doing this whole spiel again. By the way, I really enjoyed the performance from the guy who played the husband. I thought he was really good, where you are in no way sympathizing with him, no way. You don't empathize, nothing there, but I kind of like how honestly he plays it from his point of view, how you see that he does all that abuse shit, but still seems kind of honest, if you can say that, when he tells her, I love you and don't leave me and I need you. I like that you can see that from his point of view, this seems like a legit, real thing. Overall, the look and the design of this movie is gorgeous. Like I said, it's set in the late 19th, early 20th century. Costumes, absolutely fantastic. I also like that you can see with Colette, what she's wearing, how she slowly develops, because Colette starts off in those very stereotypical 19th century women's dresses. They're very uptight and all that, and I like that throughout the movie her costumes, the look, become more and more sort of androgynous as the story goes on, and how as she starts realizing, oh, I'm not a stereotypical woman, and I'd like to have a relationship with women, and I'd like to maybe wear men's clothes even. So I like that the costumes changed accordingly. Also, best look when Keira Knightley walks into the office in a man's three-piece suit. That looked so good on her. I was like, wow, Keira Knightley is pretty, but damn, does she look good in the suit. Also, just the general look of this movie, regarding cinematography, gorgeous. There are some really nice set pieces, especially when you're in Paris, and I don't know if they did film it in Paris, but I like the streets and the houses they filmed at. Also, the editing works fine. There's some really nice transitions there, and the music is really nice. You have those classic pieces of music, like piano and violin, and sure, you have your very famous pieces of classic music that you basically hear in almost any historical movie, but they're there because they're good, and the music was a bit more subtle, but I actually prefer it like that in those kinds of movies. Also, because I'm just remembering this, what I also really enjoyed were those stabs the movie took at what masculinity is and how masculinity presents itself, or used to present itself in the 19th century. But there was some stuff in there where I thought, this stuff still happens today. A lot of times, Willie would excuse his behavior with something along the lines of, this is what men do, this is what we're like, and we can't help it. So I like that the movie addresses those sort of things and calls them out on it, through the character, mostly the character of Colette. This kind of bullshit does get called out, and I like that we have this stuff in there. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed Colette. Fantastic movie, a very interesting story we're told here from, even if you don't know Colette, but like it's still from a very interesting point of view. Like, even if, like me, you didn't know her, just go watch it. Maybe you'll even get interested in her works, which maybe is really good at, by the way. I started looking up her novels after they came out of the cinema. Some fantastic performances, the design, costume-wise, look-wise, cinematography, absolutely gorgeous. The only tiny problem I have with this movie is maybe that some stuff is a bit repetitive and that it could have been cut a bit shorter. Like, the movie is, I think, 2 hours long. Like, maybe you could have cut down to like 110, maybe even 100. But that's just nitpicking right now. The movie is very, very good, and I would definitely recommend it. So those are my thoughts on Colette. Have you seen the movie already? Do tell me in the comments below what you thought about the movie. I'd like to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. I hope you enjoyed this little review, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.